Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Swati Vanjari and today we will deep dive on OAuth 2.0, one of the most essential authorization framework for modern applications. Whether you are working on web apps, mobile apps or any APIs, OAuth 2.0 will help your apps authenticate and authorize users in a secure, scalable and user-friendly way. Today we are going to cover everything from basic OAuth 2.0 to its real-world implementation and securities best practices. We'll also look at a practical coding demo to show how you can implement OAuth 2 in your own projects using Spring Boot. So grab a copy, sit back and let's get started. So what is OAuth 2.0? Let's start with the basic. OAuth 2.0 is an authorization framework, not an authentication protocol. This is important. OAuth 2.0 does not deal with verifying a user identity. That means it does not authenticate, but it will authorize. Instead, it provides secure, delegated access to resources. Auth allows third-party apps to act on behalf of user without needing to share sensitive information like password. Consider your day-to-day life example. Imagine you're logged into a new app, whatever new app you have been logged in, like gaming app or something where you have to create your account. So you can log in over there by using your Google account. The app can access your email or profile info depending on what permission you are granted. They will ask you these are the permissions these are the information we required. So you need to give us a permission so that we can take that information from Google database and use it. Okay. So depending on what your permissions you are granted, without knowing your Google password, auth is the technology that make it happen to log in without using your passwords. So the core concept behind it is authorization and delegation. Authorization allowing access to the resources, as we said earlier, and delegation means the entity acting on behalf of another without full access to the user credentials. We are not giving full information about our profile in the Google, but we are giving only required information that new app is required. We are giving only that information to the app. This is delegation. So you ever used login with Facebook or login? Here you can see login with Google. Like this, there are so many things like login with Facebook, login with Google, login with GitHub, login with LinkedIn. They are all similar. These are practical application of OAuth 2.0. Rather than creating a new username and password for each and every app, OAuth 2.0 allows you to use your existing credentials securely. So, what are the earlier practices? Have you seen this wallpaper? Have you ever wondered about the story behind this famous Windows XP desktop background? Its name is Bliss. Well, here is the fun scoop. The photo was taken by Charles Orier in 1998 in California. Means this is the actual painting, not like it's just a wallpaper. He was actually on his way to visit his girlfriend when he saw the perfect scene of rolling grass, hills, and blue skies. Lucky for us, obviously. He snapped a quick photo. Microsoft bought it, and now it's the most viewed photo ever, seen by over a billion of people. Fun fact, the hills over here are vineyards. Anyways, coming to the topic before our topic like OAuth 2.0. So before OAuth 2.0, how user gets authenticated. So what are the earlier practices to authenticate before OAuth 2.0? So first is simple login, that is form-based authentication. You can see over here you have to give your user ID or email ID over here, and here you have to provide your password, and that app will have to take care all the authorization of you. It, but the disadvantage is ensuring security for each login activity. Whenever you are logging in, yeah, the apps the app should have to take care of your security, maintaining the forms, hashing algorithm, cookies, session variable, etc. This all have to done by the app only. So next to this is SAML, Security Assertion Markup Language. It's an open standard for exchanging authentication and authorization data between parties, in particular between an identified provider and service provider. SAML is an XML-based markup language for security assertion. Consider this example. I have shown it to you on the screen. Imagine you want to access what you want to access Gmail, Salesforce, Slack, and some more different some more application via different devices like PC, laptop, browser, mobile. Instead of logging in separately for each, you also log in once by SSO portal. This is single sign-on portal. You can log in it like your company's login system. This SSO server acts as an identify provider. It sends SAML token to each services. What it will do? It will do it will send SAML token. SAML means this security assertion markup language token to each services you want to access. These are the services we want to access, so it will send the SAML token to each of these, confirming who are you. This way you can access all apps without having a login again. Simple and secure. And the next one is delegation authorization, which we are using right now, allowing other websites to access resource owner data stored in some other website without giving the password. So earlier solutions for delegated authorization. This is an example in which Facebook wanted to solve their issues of delegation authorization and incorporated a method with a user could let Facebook access some part of his or her data with its preferred email ID by entering their mail ID and password for the same. So this is the issue. Like Facebook wants to access data, and the solutions come is this. In the shown case, a user will have to just what he have to do. It will have to do just believe Facebook. User have to believe Facebook that they will keep his or her mail ID and password safe, and also that they do not access any other information except what they ask for. These were insecure and bad ways to implement delegate authorization and left the user credential as well as his or her account in risk. Anyways, so what is the need? Why do we need auth? So first reason is security, as we already seen the example of Facebook. In the world where user interact with multiple apps, or 2.0 allows secure access without needing to share password. You need not to share your password, but you will get, but the application you want to use get the access which is needed. Apps don't store or handle sensitive credentials directly, reducing the risk of data breaches. Your data will be safe at the end. This is the first importance. And the second one is user experience. Of course, we did user don't like to fill every time data. So auth simplifies the login process, reducing the number of account and passwords a user has to manage. This leads to smoother user experience. And third one is the API integration. For developers, OAuth 2.0 is a critical when building applications that rely on APIs. Instead of handling user authentication and authorization from scratch, you can delegate this responsibility to trusted providers like Google, GitHub, or Facebook. Means your application do not have to take care of this um, authentication and authorization process. It will take care by the third party like Google, GitHub, or Facebook. So in the given example, this is the example. The user is asking Google, you have to log in with the Facebook, but the user is asking who? Google to allow access to the Facebook only for his contacts. Here, allow Facebook to have access to my contacts only. He will asking Google to do it. Okay, this is the example. Here, after authenticating the user, Google API will grant the user access to the user contact access. Google what will do? Whatever contacts you have saved in your Google account will be given access to the Facebook. This is all possible by using OAuth 2.0. The OAuth 2.0 authorization frameworks enables a third-party application to obtain limited access to an HTTP service, either on behalf of a resource owner or orchestrating an approval interaction between the resource owner and the HTTP service, or by allowing the third-party application to obtain access on its behalf. So, the next topic is core components of OR 2.0. Now let's dive into the architecture of OR 2.0 and its key components. The first is resource owner. Here you can see resource owner is you. Consider you as a resource owner, then client as the website you are visiting, and the resource server or authorization server are third parties like Google, GitHub, or Facebook. Okay, so give attention. Resource owner. This is usually the end user who owns the data and resources. For example, if I am using social media app, I am the resource owner because I own my profile data. Okay. Then client. Client is you are using Instagram, so client is Instagram. The client is the application requesting access to the resource owner's data like mobile app or website. Then authorization server. This is authorization server. The authorization server handles the authentication of a resource owner. What it will do? This you have to do here. It will handle the authentication of the resource owner and issues the access token. Here it will get access token, obtains token from here. Google, Facebook, or GitHub are typical examples. Then resource server. This is the server that hosts protected resources like user profiles or photos. Once the access token is obtained from here, the access token is obtained. That this token is used here. It is used to interact with the resource server. Your client is interacting with the resource server to get the required data from the resource server. And what is access token? The access token is the key to the kingdom. It grants the client access to the resource owner's data. This token is typically short-lived for security purpose. Okay, what is token then? It's a key to the kingdom. Suppose what 2.0 is a kingdom and the key to the kingdom is token. From the authorization server, you have to obtain token and then then give it that token to the resource server to get your required resource from the database of third-party applications like Google, Facebook, GitHub. Now, how it works. OAuth 2.0 in action. OAuth 2.0 defines several authorization flows depending on the type of application and security requirement. Let's go over the most common ones. Consider you're a Tom. This is you and you're a Tom who visits the website. What it do? First number, this. He visits the website. Website means client website. Client website like Instagram. Okay. So he is visiting the website that needs to be accessed to your Google Drive data. Oh, sorry, here it is. Have considered the Google Drive data. So this is Google Drive. Okay. So who visits a website to need the your Google Drive data, whatever data in your drive. The website requests Google by Google Drive data. What it do? Visit website, then can I get Tom's Google Drive data? He asks whom? Authorization server. Then what authorization server do? It will ask you like this. It will ask you, do you agree to grant permission to the website? After this, like you when you click on sign up with Google or sign up with Facebook, what they will ask? Do you agree to grant permission to this website? Then you will think like, yeah, I want to do that. So you are sending, okay. Okay, to whom? You are sending this to authorization server. Okay. And then authorization server, what it will do? Here's the term Google Drive data. He will give whatever data required to the website. Like you are considering one example over here. Consider the example of Facebook again. Like Facebook wants to access users' Gmail contacts. Okay, we have all seen it all here also. So they will give you option to do so using Google APIs. Okay, so this is the Facebook. You have to connect with the help of Google so that you can give your Google contacts to the Facebook. So Google will what screen will open? Google. You have to log into the Google. Okay, by you entering your Gmail and password. Then what it will do? As soon as the user clicks on connect with Google, he directed to a Google endpoint. This is Google endpoint where he asks the user to enter Gmail credentials for authentication. Okay, here it will you have to authenticate yourself that I am a valid user. To whom? To Google. Okay. When the authentication is successful, here the authentication gets successful, the user asks whether he wants to allow Facebook to access your profile, your public profile and contact. Then you have to click yes. Okay. If the user clicks yes, he is redirect back to the Facebook, and the Facebook will will be given all the data what is the required. What Facebook is asking here? Context. So context will be given to the Facebook. And if the user say no, I don't want to give the access, then the session is terminated. Okay, so the concept is the basic concept of this auth is not about authorization. Auth is auth is about authorization, not authentication. I already giving this word two words in a high note because what authentication do? Authentication verifies user identity, but authorization it will permit access to the resources. You are getting access to the resources of the third party application to use your current app. And the next concept behind OAuth 2 is website won't obtain your confidential information. Not every possible information you did not have to give it to the websites you are using. You can just log in via Google without giving them the passwords. The advantage of OAuth 2.0 is to protect user confidential information in the third party service. In our previous Google Drive example, the website won't have obtained the user confidential information in his Google account, such as his Google password. We are not giving Google password to the this kind of websites. So there are three type of brand types, which we can also say or 2.0 flows. The first one is authorization code flow, implicit flow, and client credential flow. We'll see the first one that is authorization. Before that, you need to know the difference between the access token and the refresh token. So what is access token? Token required for getting users Google resource. This is a single page application. Okay. So here we are getting This means access token and RT means refresh token. So why access token is required? The token is required for getting users Google resource. From the resource server, you need to have what token so that you can. This is authentication server and this is resource server. So single page application is connected to this authorization server and it will give you access token. By using this access token, you can fetch the details of the user from Google resource. And this access token is short live and periodically expires. So it comes with refresh token. What it will do? Resource token for getting a new access token when the previous access token expires. I already told that this is a short live and periodic. So whenever it get expires, refresh token comes in picture. User's permission is not required during this process. It will refresh by himself. You need not to give any permissions to him to get the thing done. So how it works? Authorization code. You can see here. This is user, that is you and me, visiting website, get home page, and then request whatever we have seen all the year. So request user Google Drive data here, and we'll get permissions. User agrees to grant permission. Up till now, we have seen that how user give permission to us. Okay, this is how, like resource owner like you visit website, ask for Google Drive data, then Google server will ask you that do you want to really give him the data, and you will at the end when you click on yes, you will get the drive data. So this is up to this. And now after this, what will the Google authorization server do? It will return callback URL with authorization code in the URL. And after that, the website server, what it will do? It will exchange that authorization code to code for access token. What Google authorization server will give? It will give authorization token in the URL. It will be in the URL. You have the authorization code. That authorization code you have to pass to the again to the authorization server, and it will you have to exchange the authorization code for access token. You need access token at the end. So then Google will what it will do? It will returns access token with refresh tokens too. And now the website server will calls Google Drive Google Drive API to get the data with access token. And when the data is given, it will be shown to you on the front end side. This is website, that is client side, which we also called as front end, and this is website server, which is also called as backend. So when user is logged into the system, this is the process until we are logged in over here. Then what happens? This server will give you authorization code. The backend of your application will exchange the authorization code and will get access token. Then that access token it will also access token and refresh token it will give. It will by using that it will call Google API, Google Drive API, and will get the required information. So this is the flow which is secure because access token is never exposed to the users or browser, making it ideal for server to server communication. In Google Auth API, normally refresh token never expires unless it is revoked. However, as mentioned in Google documentation, refresh tokens for Google Cloud Platform project with status testing works differently. Also in Google Auth API, there is a limit for issuing refresh token for Google account per or client ID. It's recommended to store the refresh token permanently. So this is just information about it, more information. The next flow is implicit flow. The implicit flow is commonly used in SPA, single page application or client side app, like front end. Okay. Unlike the authorization code flow, the access token is written in the directly in the URL. You can see here, agree to get permission, visit website. This is front end. Okay, so you are visiting this website. It will ask, it will request authorization. Then you will get to see this again, the consent page that you really want to share your data with this website. So you'll grant the permission, you will grant this permission, and what it will do, it will redirect with direct callback URL it will give to you, and you can also directly call Google API with access token. While this flow is quicker and easier for client-side apps, it's less secure because the token is exposed in the URL itself and can be intercepted. Okay, but no matter what JavaScript library or directly using OAuth 2.0 endpoints approach, the access token will be exposed in the front channel, which may be stolen in XSS attack. So this is risky. Then the third is client credential flow. In the client credential flow, the client acts on its own behalf rather than behalf of user. This is client application and this is authorization. They are communicate with each other and solve their own problems by themselves. This flow is typically used in machine-to-machine communication. It will do machine-to-machine. The backend of your client application and the backend of your Google third-party application will talk to each other. This client is asking for authentication, and this server is giving the access token. You can use anything. Yeah, likewise. So it's like a microservices might authenticate itself and other microservices using this flow. It is this type of client credential flow is used in microservices to get access token within themselves. Now, I think we need to go to the live example. So here, for this, you have to go to your Google account and search for what? Google Cloud Console. Go to the Google Cloud, not GCP. Google Cloud Console. Go over here. Here we are working on APIs and services, so just click over here. But you need to have your account over here. If you are new to this, you need to fill this auth consent screen. But you have to follow some procedures and steps. They are already it's like easy, but I already done, so it will not visible to me. But you can do it. Okay, and then the main thing over here is you have to create your credentials like this. I already created it with the help of test app, but still for the demo purpose, I'm giving it to you. You have to click on create credentials, then auth client ID. Here you need to select your authentication type as web application and give your uh, name, whatever you want to give, and then here the authorized redirect URIs. This is important. You have to provide your URIs like HTTP. I'm just giving it over here so that you can have somewhat idea what is the URL. Localhost 8080. What port you are using in your Spring Boot project. Login. These are all the URIs. OAuth 2. Then slash code and then slash Google. Because we are using Google over here, so did I with Google. So this is the URI. You have to add it over here and then create. Just press the create button. With the same name, you can give any name, like I have given test app. Now you need to create a Spring Boot application. For this, you start Spring.io. Here you can choose Java as a language. I'm using Maven, and then Spring Boot version 3.3.4. You can give anything like whatever you want or the name of your project, and I'm considering it a packaging as jar packaging and Java 17 version. Here you the main dependency you have to add is Spring Web, and then another most important dependency is OAuth 2 client. After that, you can add your dependencies like DevTool, Lombok for your uh, easier purpose, but not required really. So by choosing this generate, and it will give you a zip, then unzip it and open it in the IDEA, IntelliJ IDEA or whatever Spring Boot application, whatever IntelliJ means IDEA you are using. So whatever applications like Eclipse and Spring STS you are using. So I'm using IntelliJ IDEA over here. So for this, you need to create one hello controller where we are giving some message like this. It should be REST controller, and get mapping with the slash only. We just have to give some message on the screen. So we just did this, and then we have to create one more class named as security config. Okay, so here we have to annotate the class with configuration, and when any class is configured with the annotate with the configuration, what it means, it's a source of bean. Means under this class you will get the bean. So here is the bean, and here we are using public security filter chain and giving secure HTTP security over here because, and now we are using HTTP security because I don't want to bypass the security. Like I already given it in the comments that I don't want to bypass security, but I want to access to log in the Google. So given over here, and this HTTP dot authorized request, and it's like auth2 dot login. The ant matchlers like slash auth2 ensures that the endpoints related to auth2 logins are accessible without authentication. All the requests are secured with any request authenticated, meaning any other request require authentication. Sorry, and auth2 login. This what it do? Configures the applications to use auth2 login with the default settings provided by the Spring Security. Okay, now we just need to run this code. Okay, sorry, we need to provide some properties over here. When you create the application, this app over here, or 2.0 client app, I have created test app. When you created this, you will get some client ID and client secret. You need to save it because you can see here this is client ID and this is client secret. Okay, I am showing it to you, but sometime after this video, I will obviously delete this app, and then spring.security.auth2.client registration.google.client ID. Here you have to give your client ID, and here you have to give your client secret because we are using Google. So here we are keeping it as a Google. If you are using GitHub, you can put GitHub. For this, if you want to again add somewhat like again new user login via GitHub, so you can use this. GitHub, GitHub. You have to go to your profile and then in settings, developer settings. Here, auth apps. If you want to add over there, then you can also create a new app, and it will after registration, they will give you client ID and client secret. You can use that here, and boom, you can do it. Okay. But you have to also provide that authenticated redirect URI. I already told you before this. HTTP colon double slash localhost colon 8080 slash login slash or 2 slash code slash GitHub. You have to provide that authorized redirect URL. Okay. Now just run it. Is it run? Yes. Tomcat started at 8080. Go over here, localhost 8080. Look, you can choose. If you are selecting GitHub, then you will get the screen like or screen like this. Where it is? Screen like this, like sign up with Google and then sign up with GitHub. But I'm not using it for now, so it's like you choose your account. I'm choosing this. Now look, when the user clicks login with Google, they will be redirect you to the what where they are redirect you to the Google or 2.0 endpoint. This is endpoint for Google. So you have to continue because we are giving permission. If you are ready, then continue. And boom, hello auth app, which I have given the write a controller with the this line. You will get this. Once the user granted the access, Google sends an authorization code back to the application, and we can now exchange the code for access token. So that is it. Now, what are the security best practices? Where is it? This security best practices. Auth 2 is a very powerful, but like any tool, it must be used securely. Let's look at some best practices to avoid common pitfalls. So, first one is always use HTTPs. Never transmit access token over plain HTTP. Okay, you have to use HTTPS. Always use HTTPS to protect data in transit. Second one is use short-lived tokens. Access tokens should expire quickly. Use refresh tokens to obtain new access tokens without user interactions. This is then avoid implicit flow for sensitive apps. Because because the implicit flow is less secure, so avoid using it for apps that deals with sensitive data. Then uses scopes wisely. Only the request the minimum scopes necessary for your app. This limit the damage in case of breach. If you are using it for so much time, then maybe it will breach your security. So that is it. Now the common pitfalls to avoid. Let's wrap up with some common pitfalls. Common mistakes developers make while implementing Auth 2. They used to expose, not usually, they expose tokens in URLs. Access tokens should never be included in URLs as they are exposed in browser history or logs and will get uh, breaches to your security. So no, say no to access tokens in URL. Then failing to rotate secrets. Make sure to rotate client secret periodically to reduce the risk of comprises. And the next is not validating scopes properly, ensuring that your apps checks the scopes included in the access token before allowing access to the resources. So these are some common pitfalls to avoid by developers. Now recap. To recap, OAuth 2.0 is a powerful framework that allows secure, delegated resource access to the resource. In this video, we have covered what is OAuth 2.0 and why it's important, key components of OAuth architecture, the most common OAuth 2.0 flows, the real world example of OAuth, and then security practices and common pitfalls. So, there is. Thank you for watching. If you found this video deep in dive helpful, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more in-depth tech tutorials. Feel free to leave any question in the comment section and I'll do my best to answer you. See you next time. Thank you.